Is the universe random and chaotic, or is there a perfect underlying order and structure from which everything conforms to that comes from a higher intelligence? Is it possible to test this hypothesis? Well, I've got some information to share with you that just might offer an answer. It's time to tell a tale, so let's get right into it. This is a right triangle. Mirror that triangle along an axis and you get perfect symmetry. This is a map of my hometown, and each one of these 3 points of this triangle overlaid on the map is a place of significance in my life. Here is where I moved when I was 5. Here is where I rented a room in 2007. And here is where I was working in 2007 when I discovered this perfect geometry between these places. As the story goes, I didn't notice this right away. I noticed this geometry on the map one day after I came home from a show at a local venue here. At this venue, I made a purchase with a card and received a transaction copy that had a business address located here. I took the receipt home, made some observations on the map, and voila! Coincidence, right? How does this striking geometric relationship suggest the universe is organized by an intelligent power? That is where the thought experiment comes in. Let's say in 2006, I used a map to find out where I was moving to and discovered this geometry. Intrigued, I then formed a hypothesis that goes something like this. If this is a pattern that manifested through matter that originates from a consciousness that is greater, or in other words, encompasses our reality and everything we know, even across time, then that consciousness would then be conscious of my thoughts and actions. I could possibly even interact with it in perhaps a meaningful way. So, the question that makes up my hypothesis goes like this. Is this a sequence of a larger pattern that can reveal other places of significance that I would soon discover in the future? How then could I carry out experimentation to support this hypothesis? Looking at these 3 points, we can observe their relationship to the surrounding streets to point out 3 distinct features. This house is between these 2 arterial streets going north and south. My workplace is at an intersection that shares one of these streets, as well as this street going east and west. My residence is on this street. I can now arbitrarily describe these 4 streets as being of potential significance hinted at by these perfect spatial relationships. So let's examine further, keeping in mind the possibility that this could be an intelligent pattern unfolding. If I were to have noted the right angle here and, inspired by that, further define these 4 intersecting streets as a pair of right angles, I could then search for a corresponding point for each one of these 3 places that would make 3 pairs of points. I would place a point here at this intersection that corresponded with my workplace, and then, at the end point of the path from my childhood home, I could draw a perpendicular line, and where it meets the corresponding street, I would place another point. By following these simple steps, I would draw a parallelogram, which is 2 pairs of parallel lines, another meaningful correspondence. Finally, having arrived at a satisfying conclusion, I could then postulate that something significant might just manifest in these 2 places sometime in the future. So when that performer came into my workplace for lunch, and I found out that she was performing at a venue here, I could say, "It's a sign!" Then I could go and repeat in her workplace what she did in mine, and when I got to the part where I paid for the band merchandise with my card, I could conceivably have already known what the receipt address was before I even looked at it. And had I done just that, it would not be a lucky guess, it would not be magic, it would not be a prophetic vision, it would be pure pattern recognition, isolating the variable and solving the equation with a touch of subjective interpretation. Now, this is just a thought experiment. It didn't actually happen that way. But I did make a nice presentation like the one you're watching now and gave that performer a copy of it way back in June of 2007. So, whatever happened to that DVD I gave her that had this information on it? Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell because this pattern is only just getting started and you are not going to want to miss out on the next video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.